Welcome YouTube, it's your boy AJ Collins, also known as Mufasa X, back at it again with another video. I think this video is going to be very complex because this is something I've realized over the course of, I would say, the previous year. People used to always tell me about the frontal lobe, and I used to always hear about, the development of it and hitting a certain age where you start, I guess, out of nowhere, as they will explain it or perceive it, at a certain age, out of nowhere, something will just click in your brain, right? And they would tell me that you will start realizing a lot of things. You will start understanding a lot of things more precisely, right? More practical, right? And I never really believed it because I always felt like there was people above this placement of an age, right? They say the average person that is 25 has the frontal lobe developed fully, right? And I've known people that was older than 25 who I would say is like less mature, right? They haven't developed themselves and responsibilities, adulthood, etc. So I never really kind of believed it. Very interesting enough, on my age, well, I'm at that age essentially where something clicked, I would say. I don't know what it is. Like, listen, okay? If you know what I'm talking about, man, I used to always hear these stories, but something clicked this year. And I don't know, I would say the difference is prior to me understanding that my frontal lobe was developed versus after, it's two different things. Like when I look back at a lot of my choices and a lot of mistakes that I would say I've made, right? Because I mean, I don't regret anything, but it's also like a lesson I've learned. When I look back at a lot of things, it makes me laugh because it's like, it's cringe, bro. Why did I do that? Or like, why did I go with that person? Or like, why did I make this choice? You get me? And a lot of things that make sense. And I never really realized why. The reason is because when you're younger, at a certain age, and you're less experienced, a lot of life choices that you make, you aren't making with the sense of long-term vision, or you're not making it in the sense of structure, right? Structure or a long-term plan. Now we could sit here and write things down. I'm not saying I was just wild or anything like that, right? But I wrote a lot of things down. I've planned things precisely. I've researched, I've studied, but there was just something about life experience itself and practical use cases, right? What I mean by practical use cases, like, for example, I bought a car in 2020, a Honda Civic. It was about $24,000, and like I remember, like the money that I have for a down payment, right? In my head, because it sounds cool and it sounds like the right thing to do, I didn't have life experience, one, but two, I didn't think of it with a long-term structure. Okay, how would this affect me 2 years, 3 years down the line? You think about a lot of choices that you make in the moment only, right? You could sit here and be like, okay, I'm gonna plan it, bro, 5 years from now, but that's only how you feel in that moment. You're making a lot of life choices based on where you're at, how you feel, and what you perceive and understand at that moment. I was young, bro, right? So I was consuming a lot of content like cars and supercars and how you can change like rims on cars and stuff like that, but not understanding APR rates, credit, you know what I'm saying? I'm not understanding debt to income ratio. These are real life practical things that you need to learn. If I would have known that, right, if I made a crazy decision like going to take out a Honda Civic brand new off the lot, the moment I drive it off to the curb, it lose 30% of the appreciation. It's just little things like that. I would have just taken half of that money and just bought a cash car and literally just kept saving. Like, it's just certain things, right? Because you feel like you need the latest car, and that was me. I felt like I needed the latest car. I felt like I needed the image. I needed the latest fashion designer. It was all in the moment. Now, that's just like one example, right? There's also a thing with life choices. So like, for example, when my frontal lobe really clicked, I would say that a lot of friends, and this is why the last video that I've made on friends was, people eventually reveal themselves. And I wouldn't even say reveal themselves. People have always been a certain way. You just haven't really been honest with yourself, right? So I would say this year, I ain't gonna lie, this year it clicked. Like, bro, I don't know what happened. It just, something clicked. Something told me to just be to myself. Like, life really isn't that hard, bro. Like, I'm really blessed. I've been through a lot of things, but that was just shaping me into the man I am today, right? into a better person, a person with more standards, more morals, more just standards, I would say, right, as an individual, right? Back then, bro, from partners, from friends, from everybody I was around, one, I was always afraid to kind of speak up my opinion on a lot of things, right? Now, I'm not saying I wasn't outspoken, but there was like boundaries and certain things that I just didn't fuck with, and I didn't like apply that. I never really like stood on my ground for real, you know? And I think looking back at a lot of things, just because it was a people pleasing trait that I felt like a lot of people have growing up, and I was one of them as well, where you always try to put somebody needs and wants above yours, right? And I was one of them, bro. I had the worst partners, bro. I could say that. I don't care if they watching or whatever. I had the worst partners in my life. Literally, I would say it's very interesting, bro. I was putting myself in situations where I was with people out of survival mode, right? Things that I'm not gonna just blame other people, but I'm just saying, like, okay, if I would have just prioritized myself and not had that fear of what someone's gonna think of me and perceive me, right, or like judge me off my situation in that moment if I'm struggling or something like that, right? Now how I look at it, it's like, bro, that person was never for you. Like, it's so simple. That person was never for you, bro. I've met people in my life now where it's like you go through shit. Okay, we'll do, you know, as long as you put your priorities first and you kind of like, you know, working, the right individual, bro, is gonna stay with you, and they're gonna understand that life has up and downs, right? We all complain about the economy, we complain about life is hard, this and that, but the moment that you have somebody close to you going through something, at that time, a lot of people just leave. And I always understood, like, why me? But in reality, it's like, even when you're going through things, people fall off because a lot of people aren't in your life for the genuine reasons, bro. A lot of people might be there for the moment. A lot of people might be there for the things that you have right then and there, not, you know, what type of person you are, this and that. And I had to realize that, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was way too fucking nice. I was way too lenient for people, and it's like I had to put my foot down, bro. Now I didn't cut off, like, I felt like if I went through anything and you show me a different side or you judge me off that, you just got cut off, bro. You know, because I felt like I have friends that went through something over these last course of years, and I've never judged them, and now they're even doing way better. And it's like we're cool now because it's like I never judged them off that progress, and vice versa. You get me? They always looked at me with a sense of character, right? When you have your friends and the people around you, partners, whatever you want to name, make sure they have a sense of morality and character within themselves. This is something that you're going to realize as well when your frontal lobe develops. When your frontal lobe develops, the things that you tend to care about, and you sense to gravitate towards will change. I mean, bro, I don't care, like, the whole notion of someone having money versus what they're doing with their life and progressing is two different things, right? If a person doesn't have money, bro, they could have paid their whole rent, they could have paid their car bill, insurance, like, bills get piled up, right? You should never judge a person off that. Now, if a person's just not doing nothing with their lives and they're just, you know, slacking around, then that's a whole different, you know, ball game. That's what you judge a person off of, not how much money they are. And a lot of people that I had prior judging me off my money, bro. I just call it what it is. And I'm better now, bro, and I'm happy, I'm blessed, I'm way better than years ago, you get me? And it's like now no one is gonna add to that but myself, you know. And when I choose to decide to add someone to my life to build with that, you know, and I've met some people, you know, but anyway let's get back on topic. Your frontal lobe dictates a lot of your decisions. And even now, bro, you shouldn't care about materialistic things. I'm telling you right now, bro, like, what you think you care about now is going to change years later. Now, if you're aware that your frontal lobe developed, this is a different ballgame for you. Of course, you already understand. But for the people who haven't experienced that, you know, I wish somebody kind of had made these videos. A lot of people used to always be, oh, some clicks, and oh, it made me break up with my partner. It was just very vague, right? Nobody actually went into depths about it. You just start making more practical decisions, right? More decisions that's actually going to add value to your life. Not just decisions that feel good, if that makes sense. Not decisions that it looks good, if that makes sense, right? Like, you'll start judging people differently, right? You'll probably start asking questions differently from people, right? Okay, like, what are your traumas? Have you worked on them? Like, just real life questions, not like, I'm not saying it's a problem, but like, what's your favorite color? What you doing? Like, just your sense of understanding, vocabulary, listening, skills, everything changes. I would say as far as money, you start managing money well. You start managing money very differently. You start actually budgeting, things that actually matter, right? Your essentials, your bills, the things that you constantly consume, food, etc., before anything else, right? And you have your plan money, you have your saving money, your investing money, whatever. You put it after. Then of course you have your sense of perception, right? I like to say perception because life is all about perception, and what you perceive when you wake up and you consume and you look at the world is going to dictate how your life is, believe it or not. If your life is kind of in shambles, etc., then kind of understand that your perception won't be the best. But I don't know, you just start kind of seeing the world differently. I also feel like your frontal lobe just doesn't click and you just automatically become a different person. I have to put that out there. A lot of people have these stories and these videos and they talk about like your frontal lobe developing and then it just magically you're a different character. Like, no, you actually have to put the work in. I think the frontal lobe, if anything, it helps you realize key components that you need to work on within yourself, but other than that, it's just not some magical thing to just change your whole life and you just, I'm a better person. Like, nah, bro, you actually have to work on yourself. But yeah, man, it's the difference. Life changes dramatically. I wouldn't have thought, and I know people that used to always tell me like, man, something's gonna change, something's gonna click. But for me, it happened at 24 versus like 25 and etc. Right? But man, it's just different. Also friends, like I cut all my friends off. Like I would say like 98%, and I feel good about it. I feel like even these friends that I've had was never my friend. I mean, it wasn't. Like, it's so easy how you just look at things clearly, no problem. A lot of people are around others for their own sake of their own benefit, right? I don't know, my mind is different now. Like, for example, let's say, you talk about somebody, right? And you go hang with that person. There's not even like a sense of question, confusion. It's just automatic cutoff. Your standards and your morals increase as you get older and as you improve your own life, and when you have the realization of the development of your brain, the things that you want to take seriously in your life, right? I'm talking about people that I thought I was close or whatever, but in reality, bro, it's like I was never close with these people. I was probably around these people around a long period of time. I would say during the pandemic. If I was around you during the pandemic, I'm not saying like we ain't cool and nothing like that, but let's be real here. Like, it was a pandemic, bro. Like, the proximity and everything being shut down, and also the addition of boredom is the only reason I was around these people. And it's like, even when I went through something, I realized like, man, how my standards is, my morals, why can't these people replicate that? And it's because in reality, bro, like, these people were never for you. So in reality, that's another thing that you're gonna realize too. A lot of people that you perceive as your friend isn't your friend, bro. I'm just being honest. That's something that you're gonna have to be honest with. I'm telling you the truth. You feel me? I'm just being honest here, authentically aligned and honest. A lot of people will look at you as a pedestal when you come from the same area and sandbox as someone, and you start doing better than a family, friends, brother, cousin. It doesn't matter. They're gonna automatically apply their own life to yours, whether they tell you or not. Right? A lot of people that I don't even talk to anymore. Even when I come around them, like, the energy be different or whatever, it's intimidating to them, whatever. I don't really care at this point. You're going to realize that you have to do what's best for you, right? You're going to realize that other people's energies and their projection of their own envy, self-hatred, and anger within themselves and being projected onto you doesn't have anything to do with you. You keep God in your hands. You stay protected no matter what, and you remove negative energy from anybody that's around you. That's how you're going to survive, and that's how you're going to actually, like, remove yourself from the wrong crowd. And this is something I have to learn, bro. I used to be a people pleaser and trying to give everybody the benefit of the doubt and trying to tell people what cryptos invest in, etc. And it's like, when I removed myself and I kind of like just really isolated myself, build my relationship with God, then go hop in another relationship, etc., my whole life changed. And this time is different because I felt like I understand now, like, you can't just give your energy up to just anybody, one, and then two, you also have to just embrace who you are. Like, caring about someone's opinion and caring about what a person thinks of you is literally just like a self-subjective thing in your own mind that you've created. Literally, if you sit here and you just think like, man, I wonder what this person think of me, like, you literally just created that. So just sum up this video. You're gonna look at a lot of things differently, and you're gonna embrace them. Actually, it's not just like looking at them, because you might realize a lot of things now that you don't agree with. But when you get to a certain age, you're gonna actually like put your foot down. You're gonna actually like be serious about it. You get me? And I think that's where I'm at now. And if you're watching this, understand that you are strong, you're powerful. Keep God in your hands, and you're always gonna win, and you'll be successful. I love y'all. It's your boy Mufasa X, and I love y'all, man. Y'all take care of yourself.